the design we got to get back to.
Amen.
All throughout the history of man, all great men, including the Old Testament patriarchs, who had multiple wives, also had multiple problems. Abraham had a son he was never intended to have and created a split in his own house because he took a second wife. The problems with militant Islam, Muslim terrorists, ISIS, and such in the Middle East are a direct result of polygamy. If Abraham had not been a polygamist, there'd be no ISIS. There'd be no Islam. There'd be no Muslim state. There'd be no Arabs.
Amen.
All of these are descendants of Ishmael who should have never existed. Had Abraham not taken Hagar and begot Ishmael, those nations wouldn't even exist today. Jacob caused great jealousy between his wives, and they waged a childbearing war on each other, and consequently encouraged them to take more wives so they could make more babies. David committed polygamy, and it led to his son Amnon raping his own half-sister Tamar. Tamar's full brother Absalom then avenged the treacherous act by murdering Amnon, resulting in years of separation between David and Absalom. And David's son Solomon, who was supposedly the wisest man who ever lived, was turned away from God at the end of his life by the many wives he married.
Amen.
Not only is polygamy dangerous, it is also by its very nature creates such home problems that polygamists weren't permitted to hold church offices in the New Testament church, according to Paul, in both Timothy and Titus. God's design is one man and one woman for life for a good reason, because you messed that up and you got a mess. Now, that brings us back to Matthew 19, our key text today. We'll start with verse 3, Matthew 19 and 3. The Pharisees also came to him, tempting him, saying to him, "Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?" Now, notice Jesus doesn't address just divorce here. Jesus understands you're trying to define relationships and rules so you'll know how you can behave yourself. So Jesus says, I'm just going to cut to the chase and going to show you the gross error of your way. Jesus says, in verse 4, he answered and said to them, "Have you not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female?" Well, there automatically is your definition, no homosexuality.
Amen.
And said, "For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh." Those two become one. "Wherefore they're no more two, but now they're one. What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder." In those two scriptures, he does away with fornication, adultery, homosexuality, and polygamy, and divorce.
Amen.
Notice here that the man leaves his father and mother and cleaves to his wife. And those two become one. Now, in addressing polygamy, how in the world can a man who's married leave his father and mother after he's already left them and cleave to a new wife? It's impossible. He left his father and mother when he clove to this wife, and they became one. They're one. And any polygamist who believes, well, I'm going to marry a second wife. Well, good luck with that. Because your wife has to go down there and take that vow with you, because you're one with her now. And now you're causing her to enter into a homosexual relationship with the new wife. Because she has to take the same vow he takes, because they're one flesh. And they're inseparable, and it's impossible for him to marry another woman. Because he can't speak for himself, because he's already spoken for her. One man, one woman. Jesus is very clear in this and says, once they're together, don't let a man separate them.
Amen.
Now, I think of that not just as the law, and not just as the man and the woman, but other people who come in and mess up marriages. You know, you heard them called home wreckers. Listen, don't get too condescending, because you ain't careful. All of us at some point have been close to being a home wrecker. Well, I don't mean if you mean to. You ain't got to mean to be a home wrecker. You can come along and just give someone a shoulder to cry on, and honey, they're ready to be their spouse over you. Well, that's not what I meant. It's what happened. So don't look down on the people who do it on purpose, because a lot of people who are well-intending, and they mean good, and they cause problems too. The thing about it is, everything we do, we need to check our motives and check the responses and check our actions and say, does this build up marriage?
Amen.
Or does it tear down marriage? Not just mine, but somebody else's too.
Amen.
What God has joined together, let not man put asunder. Now, verse 7, they say to him, then why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and put her away? He said to them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. not so. This was not the original plan. You made a new plan. Now, why was it okay for Moses to allow them to divorce? Because at the time, God had bigger fish to fry than divorce and remarriage. You got to understand, they were sacrificing their children in fires to Moloch. They were burning their children on altars to false gods. They were cutting their children. They were cutting themselves in pagan acts of worship. They were engaging in all kinds of filthy fornication I can't even mention in church. To worship Baal and Ashtaroth. And the same things were going on in Rome during the days and times of Jesus. And so, during this time, if you imagine God saying, okay, you can't divorce your wives anymore. What? I'm saying, God, I'm going to throw another baby on the fire. What's that now? The sad thing is, mankind had degraded so far from the original design because of the hardness of the hearts. God had bigger fish to fry than divorce at the time. That's why Moses allowed the divorce at the time. He said, write her a piece of paper so she can marry somebody else who will take care of her because you won't. He's just trying to get the children to make it to 13 years of old without being sacrificed to some false god. He's trying to make them realize that the Egyptian gods that the Egyptians served for the last 400 years, that's not our God. We got one God who made everything. And sadly to say, Moses had bigger fish to fry than divorce. But what does Jesus do? Beginning with the Sermon on the Mount, you've heard it said of, oh, but I say to you. In other words, Jesus is here to say, I know what you've been told, but I'm here to make the requirements even more strict because I'm sick and tired of God's people being unholy. Jesus said, listen, you've had the law long enough to know how to abide by that. Let me just really take this thing one step further. This is not the original design for marriage. It's not the way God intended it to be. It's clear to anyone who wants to know the truth that Jesus very clearly addresses his attacks on the holy institution of marriage in these verses. God made marriage for one man and one woman for life. Divorce, adultery, fornication, polygamy, and all the forms of perversion of marriage were never in the original design that Jesus brings us back to in these verses. And Jesus gives the ultimate answer at the end. Verse 9, I say to you, whosoever should put away his wife except to be for fornication and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whosoever marrieth her which is put away does commit adultery. Stop the divorcing and remarrying. Wherever you're at, stop right there. Can you go back and fix that marriage? He's already remarried, she's already married? No. No more than I can go back and unmurder people of murder. No more than I can go back and uncommit sins and uncommit. But I can start right here today, right now, and I can say, Lord, I believe your word when you said that if any man's in Christ is a new creature, old things are passed away, behold, all things are new. I can't fix the past, but I can go from this day forward, and where I'm at right now, I can live life differently. If you're married, stay married. They're cheating. It don't mean you have to leave. It just means you have a right to if you want to. But just because you have a right don't mean it's the right thing to do. God may want you to stay with them and save them, get them saved. You have to seek the right between you and the Lord. But don't go back and try to fix something in the past and make a mess. Don't go forward and keep doing what you've been doing. And then Jesus says down here, verse 10 says, the disciple said to him, if the case of the man be so with his wife, it's not good to marry. I mean, that's a pretty hard stuff, isn't it? If I got to be stuck with one woman forever, I'd rather not marry. Do you see the mindset Jesus was preaching to? If I got to be stuck with one woman for the rest of my life, it's better for me to not marry. Jesus, they're expecting Jesus to say, oh, stop being so ridiculous. Come on now. But Jesus blew them away and says, all men cannot receive this saying. Say they to whom it is given. In other words, there's some truth to what you said, but it's not for everybody. Some people need to understand that they're not intended to marry. What does he say in verse 12? For there are some eunuchs which were so born from their mother's womb. Some people are biologically born with birth defects. There are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men. If you look back through history, you'll find out what that means. There be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it. Jesus has a very simple answer. If you cannot do marriage and relationships the way it's designed, then maybe you just need to write off relationships altogether. If you can't do it the way God says do it, then maybe you just need to adopt celibacy as your personal rule. Well, I'm saved, and I know homosexuality is wrong, but I'm still attracted to the opposite sex. Then I suggest that you just adopt celibacy as your way of life until you conquer that. Well, I was molested when I was a child, and so sometimes we get around little children. I suggest you just stay away from little children and don't have any relationships at all. The last thing you need to do is get married and make babies you're going to molest.
Amen.
Well, I've been so beaten, battered, and abused by so many husbands and wives ahead of before time that I know if I get married, it's not going to last. In that case, just don't bother dating at all.
Amen.
Brother Jeremy, that's kind of harsh. It'll save you from hell, won't it? And it'll save you from a lot of trouble here on earth, won't it? Jesus didn't say, hey, not having a relationship is a good thing. He says, hey, there's the truth of what you said, but not everybody can receive that. Some people are intended to never have a relationship. That's a hard thing for me to understand because I grew up believing that there was a match for everybody. But I had to learn that some people just can't do it. Some people shouldn't do it. There's a reason why some people live a bachelor's life for 70 years and don't ever date, don't care to date. There's a reason why some women go to their grave old maids. And if you can't do marriage the way you're supposed to do, if you're already married, you got to change. You don't have a choice. You're already in the covenant, you're stuck in it. If you're not married and you're not ready to do marriage the way God says do marriage, one man, one woman for life, then you don't even date. Don't even go to the movies with a friend. Just stay at home. If you got to go out with 7 or 8 people together. And make sure none of them are dating. Because you'll feel lonely, then you want to hook up with someone and say, that's my date for tonight. Just don't do it. But we've got to respect marriage enough that we're fearful. Now, there's a lot of people you may say, well, Brother Jeremy, you talked about some things that's in my past this morning. You've hurt my feelings. I'm sorry, but the Word of God hurts my feelings when I've been on. But I also know this, the same Word of God that hurts my feelings has grace and love and mercy in it. Love is saying you've done wrong, I don't want you to do it again. You got someone and they've been in a terrible car accident because they were driving 100 miles per hour. You bring them to the ER and you doctor them all up and you let them go out there and drive 100 miles per hour again. That's not love. That's saying, have fun killing yourself next time. God is here this morning with mercy and love. He says, if you've done these things and you messed it up and you haven't got it under the blood, this morning get it under the blood.
Amen.
If you've had struggles and you forgot that marriage is not a promise between 2 people, it's a covenantal relationship. You cannot break it between 2 people and God. There's an altar right here. You come right now.
Amen.
Probably some of you are thinking about someone else. Maybe you're like Tia and you're about to get married and you're like, oh, I got to make sure I do this thing the right way. Maybe you're like Brother Peyton and Sister Linda here who just celebrated 50 years of marriage. 50 years. Ain't that wonderful? You know, there's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. God's way is always the right way. Maybe the Lord's laying on your heart right now, your mind, someone that you know is struggling in relationship messes. Maybe there's a couple you know that's struggling in their marriage. Maybe there's someone you know and they've just come out of another broken situation and you know good and well they're not going to stay single more than 6 months before they're in another mess. How many of you know people just like that? This is what I want to do today. I want you to invite all of us to the altar. Whether it's you you're praying for or someone else. But let's believe this morning that God is going to redeem marriage back to what it's supposed to be. If it doesn't happen in the United States, at least it needs to happen here in the house of God.